We can use the and or keywords to combine logical expressions in our where clause. So to start out now, we're just looking at a simple query where we're pulling down all of the rows from the film table. Let's filter that so that we're just looking at films where the length is greater than 100. And we can run that. And now let's also make it so that we're filtering for films where the length is greater than 100 and the rental duration is 5. We can use the and keyword here. And we can run that. And there we go. Let's scroll our output a little bit. We can see that all of the films that got returned have a rental duration of 5 and a length greater than 100. What if we wanted to see films where the length was greater than 100 or the rental duration was 5? Either could be true. Let's change the and to or. And run that. What we can see now is that we've got films in our output, like African Egg, which has a rental duration of 6 and a length of 130. So the length condition matched, but the duration didn't, and that's fine. When you use or, only one of the two conditions has to match, whereas with and, both of the conditions have to match. We can use and or as much as we want in the where clause. So this time let's change it so that we're looking for films where the length is greater than 100, or the rental duration is 5, or let's make it so that we're looking for titles that start with A, and we can use this left function that we learned about in a previous exercise. And we can run that. So what we're doing now is matching on all films where the length is greater than 100, or the rental duration is 5, or the film title starts with the letter A. One thing I haven't touched on so far is regarding formatting. And what I did when writing this where clause was break it out onto multiple lines, rather than have it all on one line. I did that for clarity, because I think it's easier to read in this way. There is actually no standard agreed on convention for formatting SQL statements. The main thing when deciding on what formatting convention to use is just to be consistent throughout your code. There's no one right way to do it. Let's change this last or to an and. Do you know what would happen now if we ran this? Sometimes when you're looking at statements like this, it can be a little bit unclear what order things will happen in. To help clarify your intentions, it's often useful to use parentheses to group expressions together so that it's clear what order things are happening in. So for example, let's group this, and maybe we'll move that onto its own line as well. And now we can run that. And we got 28 rows. So just by adding parentheses, we've actually changed the meaning of what's happening here. We're saying that we want to filter and see films that begin with the letter A and their length is 100 or the rental duration is 5. So these two expressions get grouped together. Only one of them has to be true, and the title has to begin with the letter A. As another example of this, let's change the parentheses again. Let's get rid of from there, get rid of from here, and this time we'll say where the length is greater than 100 or, and we'll break this out onto its own line, or rental duration is 5 and it begins with the letter A. So we were getting 28 rows before. Now let's run this and see how many rows we get. 613. So again, just by adding parentheses, we've changed the meaning of what's happening because we've changed the order of operations and the order that things are evaluated in the where clause. There's also a keyword called not that you can introduce in the where clause. So let's write a query where we're looking at the film table for films that do not have a rental duration of 5. One way we could write this would be to write where not rental duration equals 5. And you can see that that worked successfully. So all of the films in our output do not have a duration of 5. So we were able to introduce the not keyword to flip the evaluation of any expression from true to false or false to true. I find often when using the not keyword, it can be useful to put parentheses around the actual expression. So in this case, we're notting the expression rental duration equals 5.